What is going on, everybody? It is Nick Buckledge, your host with the WTF show, winning the flex. Have a amazing show planned today. Have a special guest as well. She's a co-creator of Fanspeak Network. They do lots of live streams during the week. Also, you might know Best Ball Jeopardy every Wednesday, one of the funnest shows you could watch right now. She placed fifth in the Bulldog last year and 138th in the marathon at only 6 entries, I believe. So, got to bring up Meg from Fanspeak. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Nick. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's going to be fun to talk a little marathon today.
Of course, of course. Appreciate you coming on. Excited about talking about the marathon because you just wrote an article about it.
I
Not long
did.
ago, right?
I did. Yeah. So we have a Fanspeak Best Ball subscription on Substack. And Steve and I put our different rankings there. So my marathon rankings are there. And I just wrote a marathon strategy article.
Which is awesome. I read it a few days ago. It's really good. I wish you would have put it out maybe a few more days before they dropped the did the 7 marathon.
That's right. We just had the special. Yeah, I know. I'm working on those slow right now, actually. I just threw them in. It was a busy day, so I just threw them in slow. So I'm working on those as slows right now. Yeah. So I only think I have like less than 10 completed, but this is the one. I'm not a BBM girl. So I'm actually going to probably go very heavy into this contest, more into the sprint and just sprinkle BBMs for fun, honestly, on stream is what I'm going to do. So yeah, I really like this contest. It's kind of like the purest contest, right? Like you're rewarded for your good teams. Not that, teams that, do well in the classic contest aren't good teams too, but this is like the purest form of it. Basically, if you're drafting guys that are outperforming their ADP or their position rank, you're probably going to do pretty well. And really here, you don't deal with like pod luck or anything like that. The luck all lies with your team just has to stay healthy.
I think you brought up some great points. I think it rewards good drafters without the pod luck. Obviously, you showed that with only 6 entries. You placed 138th, which is really good. Now, if you did what was the max last year? 150?
Yeah, I think it was 150. It was a bigger contest last year. It's double the size that it is this year. But yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure you're like, maybe if I would have maxed 150, would have had maybe a closer to winning it. But here is the article for the marathon strategy. And then Meg, you could kind of go over it. I did read it a couple days ago. Like I said, I did like 7 marathon drafts before the article came out.
Right.
And I was like, man, like I really wish I would have read it before then.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So, I mean, do you want me to read the team because it's funny. There's still duds in this team. There's still some crappy players and picks in this team. It's just, there's, kind of like in best ball, we're not going to be all right, but you got to be way more right than you're wrong. And this team illustrates that I was way more right than I was wrong, but I was definitely wrong some. It was Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Will Levis, though those were both 2 week 12 buys. So Will Levis did fill in with 17 points on the buy. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Tank Bigsby, Khalil Herbert, Jordan Addison, Drake London. This is obviously not in the order they were drafted. Jamison Williams, Ladd McConkey, Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Roman Wilson, George Kittle, Jonnu Smith, and Jawan Johnson. So basically I had like 5 like zeros or duds. I had 3 players that contributed in some way that was still meaningful with Kirk Cousins, Calvin Ridley, and Tank Bigsby. And then I have 10 players that just massively outperform their ADP or positional rank. And that you can see that here in the article, how I had Josh Allen was quarterback 2. And this is, of course, weeks 1 through 17 scoring. Barkley was RB1, Jacobs RB4, Hubbard RB12, and then Drake London, Ladd McConkey, Jordan Addison, Jamison Williams. None of them were in the top 10 receivers, but they were all from wide receiver 9, Drake London was wide receiver 9. And then all 4 were top 20 wide receivers. And then George Kittle, tight end 1, Jonnu Smith, tight end 4. That's basically what you're looking to do in marathon. You're looking to kind of hit a parlay of I'm drafting at each of these positions. I'm being rewarded in getting, the positional high positional ranks, that they're finishing in the top 5 in either quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, or in the case like I had with receiver. And obviously, if I would have had some probably top 10 receivers or top 5 receivers, it would have helped a little more. But if you're kind of hitting that parlay where you're getting these top positional scoring for overall for weeks 1 through 17, that's how you get paid off in this. And again, we need them to stay healthy, but that's how it works.
No, the team right there is a monster. You really crushed the draft. I believe but and still 5 duds, right? So
yeah, still 5 duds. Yeah.
yeah, still 5 duds. So that shows you where you don't need to perfect the whole draft. You do need to get things right. One thing that was interesting when I saw you have Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, and then you added on Will Levis at the end,
Yeah.
where I think there's been some talk about 2 quarterback, 3 quarterback. Do you pair a third quarterback with an elite? But I think this shows you where even if you have an elite quarterback, is your third quarterback later could still help you and give you a little edge. So I thought that was interesting. And then the receivers you had too, a lot of them, like, they're known as spike guys. Like Addison had a 30-point week. J-Mo, the definition of boomer bust. Lad McConkey came in later. You crust kind of the Chuba,
Yeah.
So this is a good way to just kind of like, I guess, build your marathon teams. What are some other things after you wrote this article that you looked at for this year when it comes to like the draft landscape?
Yeah, and I kind of covered it here. First of all, I talked about like still pay attention to bye weeks. My lowest scoring week was 113, my highest was 182, and my average was 138. You don't want to be, kind of being too thin at bye weeks and then getting some 70, 80-point weeks. That's going to just crush you. The lowest scoring week being 113 really helps. And so I think you still want to keep in mind bye weeks. And then I went over in this article, and again, check it out. You can go to fanspeak.com or any of our Fanspeak Network shows. You can get a link to our Substack subscription, just $34.99 for the entire year, 3 to 4 articles from Steve and I and all of our different rankings. But, I think there's other strategies to consider here. There's certain players you probably want to bump down a little bit, and I do have my rankings up. Obviously, rookies, I love rookies, and I'm still drafting him. Lad McConkey was on this team. I'm sure I'll have a lot of Cam Scatabo this year on my marathon teams. I love him. I love Travis Hunter, but I wouldn't draft 7 or 8 rookies. I maybe draft 2 or 3. Same with injured, suspended players, guys coming back from injury, like a Chris Godwin. Just make sure the price is right for them. And then injury prone players, like a Tua. That's all risk tolerance. But if a Tua does what we think might happen and not play a whole season, that's going to be hard. I mean, again, his price is much lower, so that helps. But yeah, and there's just all sorts of other things that I kind of wrote about, only overstack great offenses, attacking great offenses as tiebreakers, really leaning into a pretty robust running back build. This is, I'm not saying it's impossible for a 0RB to hit, but if you're a 0RB only type drafter, this might not be the contest for you. Now, if there's a rash of injuries week 1 through 4, maybe 0RB teams can still get paid off, but you really need that projectable volume, because we know how 0RB hits in the classic contests. If these backups or contingent backs are hitting late in the season, that's when it matters. Every week means the same here. So you really need that projectable volume in your running back portfolio. So
no, that's very good. I think in this contest, I will be looking for the RB for the flex.
Yes.
0RB is, it helps in playoff pods because you're able to accumulate amount of points, and then by mid-season during the end, you get that push because of injuries. Rick RBs are taking over, but with this, you kind of want points out the gate. So
yeah, you want it out of the gate. Even I'm sure Bucky Irving and Chase Brown were on a lot of top marathon teams, but not as many as Saquon and Henry and Jacobs and all those things. So I just think you really do need the projectable volume of that total running back score.
No, I agree. And another thing, I think you and Steve were talking about this yesterday about how the quarterbacks were just really healthy last year.
Yeah. So we looked at the data, and 14 teams had their quarterbacks start weeks 1 through 17. In the prior year, it was only 9. In the year before that, it was 10. So we were in pretty good on quarterback injuries. Thankfully, we want them to stay healthy, obviously. But, if it goes back to, more like the 9, 10, 11 range, or just like more quarterbacks are missing longer pockets, like, okay, this guy's out for 3 weeks, this guy's out for 6 weeks, that kind of stuff. We didn't even really have that as bad last year. And so we had less like IR season long injuries, and then less like, okay, this guy's out for a massive chunk of time. If you're in that situation, this will certainly help. But yeah, it was Steve and I looked at the data, and 2 versus 3 quarterbacks in the top 100 teams, 44 of the top 100 teams had 2 quarterbacks. I believe 54 had, I don't have the data in front of me, of course, but had 3 quarterbacks, and 2 had 4 quarterbacks. So, much less had 2 quarterbacks in the top 100 teams. And that's in a year where we ran pretty good with health in quarterbacks. So I do think that's interesting. That's not to say I'm going to exclusively only draft 3 quarterback teams. And probably most of my 2 quarterback teams are going to be those teams where I have an elite and then another really, really solid one in the mid range. But, I think I'll probably be like 80% 3 quarterbacks, just because I can see the value of, I think the quarterback and running back position, I just want to dominate those positions in all of my teams.
Yeah, I'm 3 quarterback pilled, so I am now a part of that cult, some might say.
All right, there we go.
So let's get it. So guys, please, I subscribed a couple days ago to, it's only $35 for the whole year. You get weekly articles, you get so much good stuff. So go check it out. Only $35. And 2, it's like, if you like, even if you don't do a bunch of volume, but if you do plan on doing volume at different contests, they talk about marathon, eliminator, there's rankings, like
Superflex. Steve has his Superflex rankings up. We'll be adding sprint too. Yeah.
See, there you go. So if you're a DJ like me doing all these contests, I would highly recommend checking it out. So I think what we're going to be doing now is let's enter a marathon. First, I'm going to say what's up to chat.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's see. I see it spamming a little bit over there. Yeah. All right, so let's scroll all the way. Yo, what's up, WTF? What up, Bendos? Good morning. What up, Jake? What the LE? Meg and Steve out there writing bangers multiple times a week. Yes.
Appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah. GM, what up, sus? Zero says, last year I did 18 entries, got 250th place. I finished. I agree about being a per contest. The sweat isn't as fun compared to other contests, though. But
I hope Underdog improves it. It was a terrible sweat on Underdog. I thank God for BDMD that allowed me to sweat it that way. But from what I've heard, just behind the scenes talk, I think they're trying to improve the sweat equity for marathon and sprint and those contests. That's pretty important. That's half the fun of, that's we want to make money, but it's, the sweat equity is fun. And so it sounds like they're going to work to improve it. I hope it's better.
Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to continue saying what's up, chat, but I am going to be hopping into a marathon, 30 seconds, doing it right now. Let's see. We're waiting for 7 more people. So if you guys want to draft with us, hop right in. Yo, what's going on, Steve? How we doing?
There's brother.
There's brother, yes. Jared asks, how much value did adding the Will Levis add? How many spots did he change for where he finished?
Well, I added 17 points because I think I whoopsie daisied on this and drafted 2 week 12 bye quarterbacks, maybe with the mind of, maybe I'll do 2. And then I was like, wait a second, I need a third. And again, I do typically lean 3 anyways. So based on Will Levis was one of the last 5 picks. All 5 of my last picks, I guess 14 through 18 were bad, including him. So I don't know that I feel super confident that if I would have picked another running back and receiver, as my late running back and receivers stunk, I don't know if I feel super confident it would have moved the needle much, but you never know. We will never know. But he did help on that bye week. He added 17 points on that bye week.
And you know what? In a contest like the marathon where you're fighting for edges, 17 points is a lot. And I think too, it goes to your point where if you have a Josh Allen, right, or let's say you stop at 2 quarterbacks, I would assume maybe more teams had only 2 quarterbacks to Josh Allen. So Will Levis having that leverage does kind of help you in case there is an injury with the second quarterback. So I'm thinking I've been doing 2 with the 3rd quarterback. Another article, you or Steve wrote about the pocket zone for quarterbacks.
Yes, we wrote. Yeah, I wrote about the
You
pocket
wrote about that.
of
Okay.
drafting 3 quarterbacks in that pocket, rounds 8 through 13. It's just so many good quarterbacks there.
So many, and that's kind of been my approach this season drafting, where I'll still take elites, but for me, my teams always feel better when I'm able to take 3 quarterbacks in that zone,
Exactly.
because the positions of receivers and RBs, players are going to hit, but they're very less likely. So I do want to stack up everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
because those quarterbacks too, they have upside. Like, you could get a Drake
Yeah.
May in the 120s who could finish as a top 5 quarterback, right?
I totally believe Drake May could finish as a top 5. He was my highest in big board, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's going to be my highest, just because of the price, like you said, what he can do on the
Yeah.
ground. I actually drafted my fast Greyhound today. I posted on Twitter. I got May, Lawrence, May, Herbert, and Lawrence 3 rounds in a row, like rounds 10, 11, 12, all stacked. And I absolutely love the team. Now, who knows?
Oh
We'll
yeah.
see how it works. But I loved it. So.
Like that's a great trio to have. So you're saying basically you were able to take 9 other picks with
Mm-hmm.
with filling out your roster, and then you're able to May, T-Law, both with rushing upside, who should be on
Mm-hmm.
better offenses, and then Herbert, who, I mean, he still could be a top 12 quarterback, good
Yep.
offense. So I love that.
Yeah. So I had 4 running backs and 5 receivers through 9 rounds, and yeah, you feel really pretty good about your running backs and receiver room.
Yeah, yeah. So 5 more for a marathon, if anyone is interested.
I'll put it in Pat's Discord and see if anybody wants to join.
Past this is always the place to go whenever there's a draft that needs to fill. So yeah, so Zero says, I think if you take an elite, it can allow you to push your second quarterback and scoop fallers. It just depends on how you want to build. 100%. Like, going elite does give you the option to go 2 QBs, which I do sometimes. It just depends. Like, if I have like Allen, and then let's say I take like a Justin Herbert, and then like a third quarterback falls to me and is stacked, I think that's probably more useful than taking a receiver or RB that's more likely going to give you 0 production.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. Okay, Steve's in with
Cool.
us.
Steve's in. Let's
And
get it.
the nice thing drafting together a marathon, it's not like we're like, fighting where 10 of us aren't going to make it. We
That's a
could,
great point. Yeah.
we can, multiple of us can make some money off this. It's no pod, we're just trying to draft good teams. Putting another one on the currently drafting on Pat's channel.
0s and 2. Let's get it.
All right. Love it. Drafting. How many more are left right now?
Says +5.
Okay.
Let me check on my phone real quick. I'm gonna send it out to a couple more Discords. Yeah, +5 guys. Draft the marathon.
It's fun, I promise.
You know what? I wasn't sure how many marathons I was gonna do, and then Underdog drops, obviously the promo, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a free 25. That's a free BBM entry. So, I'm gonna be drafting anyways. And then, man, like, they hooked me. Marathons are fun because, like you said, I think it rewards good drafting, good structures, and it's also a good sweat because, like, let's say I don't make finals. Let's say I have terrible pod luck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is kind of like a hedge to reward me for if Drake May finishes as the quarterback 1.
Exactly.
So.
No, exactly. Like, I was sweating out to make the Bulldog finals. Luckily I did, and that was fun. But when on that semifinals week, when I didn't know if I was going to make it, I was like, well, at least I have a little sweat equity. Like, no, I'm not going to finish in first. I was in like the top 120 at that point, I think. But I was like, well, at least it's us week 17 sweat, because that's what we're all wanting, right? I mean, we all want that week 17 sweat of some kind. And to me, I don't care if it's marathon, sprint, BBM. Of course, I'd love for it to be BBM for 2 million, but any of the other fun contests, like I just really, really, really want that week 17 sweat.
I was gonna ask you, I'm sure you've been asked this a few times, but how was the sweat for the Bulldog? Like, what was kind of because this Thursday starts, right? Did you have any Ravens of the of the
Oh yeah,
game?
well, it started on Christmas Day last year. Yeah. So
Okay.
so yeah, I did a hyper fragile build where I got Saquon, Henry, and Jacobs in like rounds 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 5.
Oh wow.
And so I had Henry on Christmas and he did great. I mean, I think he scored one touchdown, very close to two. So it could have been a monster day, but he was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So that started well. And then yeah, no, but then Saquon didn't get in the end zone, but that's when they were like trying to get him closer to that Eric Dickerson
Mhm.
record. So he still got over 100. So, and I really didn't know until after the Washington game, which I'm a Washington fan, that Sunday night. And I had McLaurin, Ertz, and Mooney. And I was thinking,
Oh,
okay, I'll
okay.
really know where I stand after this. And McLaurin did nothing. He's like one of my favorite players, did nothing. Mooney didn't hit my lineup either. Ertz scores 2 touchdowns, ends up and my tight ends, I had a late round tight end build, but I had Tyler Conklin hit the tight end and Ertz hit the flex then with 2 touchdowns. So it put me in a position that I knew I should have a solid
Mhm.
finish. And then I had Jamison Williams on Monday night. And so it was a really, really, really fun sweat. Yeah. And it helps, a tournament like that, being it's a little higher dollar. I think it was a $75 buy-in for the Bulldog.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 of 10 to advance to the finals. And then it was like a 20 person final. So that makes it really fun because you're
That's a
just,
lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to be perfect. I mean, I did
Yeah.
my quarterback that week was Justin Herbert. He was scored like 26 points, but compared to you know, Baker and Jaden Daniels and Burrow, he paled in comparison, but you don't have to be perfect in those type of contests too, which is nice.
No, no. Kind of like the Greyhound as well, where I think it's advancing is like 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5.
Yes, I love those. I love those type of contests. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm still holding my bullet. Might do it later today or this weekend. Not yet, but excited to be doing that.
Yeah, I did
Sure.
not want to miss it, so I ended up doing it this morning, or yeah, early afternoon, late morning.
Yeah, part of me was like, do I want to stream it or not? Like, I don't know yet. I was like, maybe I just do it off to the side.
Yeah, Steve and I talked about that too. We were going to potentially do it last night, and I was like, no, how about we just go ahead and draft it?
Right, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to quote. How many more do we have?
+4,
Okay, I'm
so
going to say 4 more. I put it in Pat's Discord, but I'm going to say 4 more for Marathon on Twitter.
yeah. Some people, hey, I trust me. If you guys haven't done a marathon yet, you guys will love it. It's a lot of fun. I was not anti-marathon. I was just doing everything else, and then once I started marathon, I was like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. The rooms feel a little. For me, I just think marathons I have an edge in this compared to maybe other contents as well.
Same, yeah.
ADP is a little out of whack as well. Like one thing, Kelsey. Do you think like when you're doing this, do you try to go for like let's say Kelsey for example, is he better in this format compared to BBM?
I mean, the correct answer is probably yes. I'm just very down on Kelsey. I think, it's like we've seen the age cliff 2 years in a row. Basically, we've seen the decline 2 years in a
Yeah,
row. And so I'm very down. I think at the age, I know he's probably around the same age, maybe slightly or older than Zach Ertz. But I mean, we just really saw it last year. And now sounds like Bryce is going to be fine. Worthy, Hollywood wasn't there last year. So it feels crowded. And I know he's always been Mahomes' guy, but I'm very down on Kelsey in general. I would say though, you're looking to kind of outperform. So wherever Kelsey's going, you're looking for him to outperform that. Can he? Yes. I'm
yeah.
personally skeptical, but I'm a little bit of a Kelsey hater at this age for him.
No, I think that's fair. I don't draft Kelsey unless I have Mahomes, and then I still need to convince myself to do it. But
Oh yeah, I don't think I've done it yet. I don't think I can. I don't think I will much. And if that burns me, it burns me. But
no
yeah, I
Kelsey or
mean,
Tyler
because then
Lockett.
yeah, yeah, Tyler Lockett, Steve. I mean, geez, he was trying to make us draft Tyler Lockett last night. I got so mad.
I saw
Um,
that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
no, I think especially with marathon, you're asking yourself with each pick. Obviously, the first round. Okay, are they going to pay off this first round capital? but like honestly, early picks, mid round picks, late round picks, you're going for ceiling, you're going for upside, you're going for, are they going to outperform where I'm drafting them, or live up to where they're drafting them, or outperform where they're drafting them? And yeah, that's kind of so that's why I'm you can still draft rookies, you can still draft guys who are coming back from injury or injury prone, but just make sure you feel like they definitely have a really good shot to outperform where you're drafting them. So that's just the kind of the question you ask with every pick. Kind of is, do you think they're going to be a breakout candidate or overperform?
That's a great point, because I think you said in the article too, where you want to take ADP and you want to ask yourself like, hey, can they actually surpass this, right? Like you want to target players in the later rounds as well, where can this guy, how does this guy crush his ADP? And if you can't find an answer, you're probably shouldn't draft him.
Not in marathon, no. I mean, yeah, I know we talk about like those type of floor guys or the chaperones with rookies and all those kind of thought processes, and I get that. But in marathon, I think you just you're always kind of looking for upside here and just that like overachieving.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mike says what we aren't taking into account with Kelsey is it could be his last season, so he could be going all out, and maybe dude is a kid soon and coming dad strength. Oh, okay, so he's gonna be a dad soon. He said.
Is Taylor Swift pregnant? Or what, have I been living under a rock? I didn't even realize this.
Apparently, I haven't either, or maybe someone else. I don't know, but I would say with Kelsey is, I don't know. I think with Kelsey, they're gonna try to monitor him, and also one thing is like Noah Gray is a factor. Like they like this guy.
Yeah.
I remember having Kelsey in my main redraft, and I would see that Mahomes throwing touchdowns to his tight ends, and it was Noah Gray instead of Kelsey.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm like, yo, like this is insane. So I don't know. I'm a Kelsey fader. I'll stand by that. William says, understand all the criticism, but at this price this season, I have no problem bringing him in.
Yeah, the price is obviously much different. I still like, to Steve's point, just like the tight ends later, again, as far as like overperforming, overachieving, I like that, like, especially if we're going to go older guys, honestly, Ertz, Henry later. And then I love Gesicki, Freiermuth now. I think Rodgers targets the tight ends, that whole range of Brenton Strange, younger guy, that whole range of tight ends. Like I usually draft at least two of them in that range. I love those guys.
I love them too. And Kelsey, the last 2 years, he's been allergic to the end zone, which touchdowns a sticky stat, but he's just shown a decline where he's not a main factor there. And the tight ends, I love the tight ends later. Like I think Gesicki is one of my favorite tight ends because
same.
Because with tight ends, you kind of want to bet on good offenses that have some upside and scoring touchdowns. And Gesicki, I think, was like caught 60 balls for 600 yards, but only had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Steve's talked about this a lot. Like that could definitely regress, and he gets some more. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting thought process.
And then so often with Kelsey, we hear every year, no matter if you drafted him 2 years ago in the first round, or last year in the 4th round, or this year in whatever it is, the 9th round, or whatever it is this year. You hear, oh, they're saving him playoff Kelsey. It's like, well, that does us no good. Like that helps us zero.
Well, and too, like last year, like Kelsey did what he did, but there's no Rashid Rice, there's no Marquise Brown. Like Rice is here, he's healthy, and Kelsey's, I don't know, I don't see it. And also, I
do agree with Zero. I do agree with his comment that it's going to be more competitive for them this year, but I just think he has a lot more target competition this year.
Yeah, that is interesting. We are almost there, guys. Only 2 more for a marathon. Right. We'll get there. I know there's someone out there that's probably going to be like, you know what, let me just do a marathon.
And then the fun thing is having a lot of people in chat doing it with you. It goes fast. Steve and I did a marathon last night, and we had like 6 people. And it went so fast because, everybody was kind of, dialed in and making their picks quickly. So.
Oh no, that's true. I was in that stream, and
yes, yeah.
It filled up pretty fast. There's a lot of people there. We had hit them with the gritty.
Hit him with the gritty was in there. Yeah.
Doing his special building as always.
Yes. Yeah.
Was a lot of fun.
No, yeah, no, yeah, because that's right. It was you and I believe Hartman and Who Hames and Gritty and FF Links, who I know he wasn't in the chat, but he's a really good drafter. So yeah, there was a lot of people in there with us. It was fun. Paul, who's been in a lot of our drafts. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. So you said that you aren't doing many BBMs, but the marathon is one that are you maxing it?
We'll see. I mean, if I can, I will. That would be the one I'd max
Mhm.
if I did. And I understand top prize is 100K. Well, I would love 100K. So
Yeah, same here. Like,
I just think again, it goes back to the what I wrote in the intro of the article. You're rewarded for good drafting. The luck comes into your team staying healthy. It's just like kind of the purest form of best ball fantasy, and so I think the right structure is like being pretty robust and, or, at least a double anchor RB and being
yeah.
strong at your running back position and, where to value certain positions. And yeah, I definitely, think that I personally have the best chance at seeing ROI in that contest. So,
Mhm.
hopefully I can, but yeah, I definitely want to get a lot of entries in there.
Yeah, that's very important. Like, if you feel like you have an edge in a certain contest, I think, you should definitely overdraft that one compared to other ones if you feel
Sure.
like you have that, right? Like, that's kind of like how I am with the marathon a little bit, obviously, because I have that article that you wrote. So
I
that,
love it. I
that's
love
a
it.
huge edge. Eliminator too, love the Eliminator. I know that one's probably more like gambling, right? That one's more just, see what happens. But I think it's a fun.
Definitely that has a lot of fun sweat equity for sure. If you get out of that, 6 out of 12, and can keep going in the 1 or 2, that's just fun sweat equity each week. So
Yeah, yeah. I love every week looking at like, okay, like how is this team gonna be the one to get by on a
yeah.
1v1? Yeah,
Oh, appreciate it.
yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, two more. When you do marathons, how long does it usually take you to fill a room?
Um,
Just in general.
Trying to think. I mean, usually it's not too long. Usually, I mean, it can be like this time frame type deal, but most times when I peek in, it is like waiting for 4 or 5 or something like that.
Hmm.
I think that's where we were last night when we got in, and then you guys helped us fill it so quick. So yeah, it hasn't been too bad, and I've done plenty slow. I do like that special. I just threw in 7 slows right when they dropped that special. So I do plenty slow drafts as well.
Do you? Okay, I'm not too much of a slow drafter because I do prefer fast. But if there are contests where I do want to do more and I feel like I just can't, I will enter slows.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it just helps get stuff done. I will say, like, if you enter a bunch of slows, it is kind of fun because then when you check your underdog, there's always kind of a decision to be made,
Mhm.
if you have enough going. If you just have one, then you just feel like you're kind of waiting in quicksand, kind of. But when you have, like, let's say 20, even just 20, my brother has like 100 going at this one time. But even if you just have like 20 going at one time, it's kind of fun because, like, in the morning you make some picks,
Yeah.
lunch break you make some picks, evening you make some picks, before you go to bed you make some picks, and then kind of do it all over the next day. So I kind of like it. Just gives me the ability to think it through a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I know. I think Steve said where people call it slow draft hell, he calls it slow draft heaven.
Yeah, exactly. He does. He loves it.
Yeah, Mike says would have filled sooner, but Steve is in the draft, so people aren't trying to get mollywopped.
But again, we're not in a pod thing here, so yes, we're competing against each other, but we can all make some money.
Yeah, it's like second place is still good. There's
Yeah.
still plenty of money.
Oh
Yeah, I know.
my.
I know Zero here does a bunch of slows as
Yep.
well.
Okay, so I started 100 plus at once, and that's smart. No, that makes a lot of sense. I know
Yeah,
Steve retweeted it too. So hopefully um, I imagine we'll get it filled here in the next.
I know if it was 20 seconds as well, it would have been filled already. I think.
Oh, FF Links is in here. He's a sharp drafter. He just wrote on Twitter, "I'll be there." He's in there.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay, let's
So
go. I think he was in the marathon yesterday too, right?
yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think he's a big marathon drafter, and he's a sharp guy. I think he had one of the higher advance rates in BBM last year. So
Okay,
yeah.
nice. Perfect. Hey, come on. Like you said, we're not trying to advance against everyone here. We're just trying to build a team to score as many points.
Exactly, exactly. So, um,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get filled right now. Now,
uh,
no, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd say I know too. You have I think Hartman on after this, right?
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Hartman, Friends of Basketball. We do it every Friday, and we do draft BBM on Friends of Basketball. So Hartman and I will draft a BBM at 6 o'clock, and pretty much Friends of Basketball, an occasional sibling showdown, and probably one a month of my own is probably all I'll have on BBM, just because that is such a
Hmm.
gauntlet.
It is. It is. It is. It's a gauntlet. It's hard to get there. There's people who've maxed it for 3 years, 4 years now, and still haven't been able to.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and listen, I love it, and I was in the BBM 3 finals the year that
Oh, were you? Oh,
the last game
okay.
got canceled, and I had T Higgins, but I didn't have a shot at first or anything like that, so
Yeah.
I might have made a little more money had that game played, but I didn't have a shot at anything massive.
Okay.
But no, it was, and I had limited entries and made it, and it was really fun, and that's what honestly got me fully addicted to basketball. And
Hmm.
my brother and I got more and more into it. Our parents play basketball too, so yeah, it's a
That's
full
awesome.
family degeneracy of basketball. Gotta love it. But no, I made it then, but then the last 2 years, even doing more entries than that, it's so hard. And I think I get so attached to some teams, like, oh, this team could do so good, and then
Yeah.
one false move, one bad week, you lose it. And sure, that can happen in these other contests too, but at least like it's a cleaner path on like 1 of 6, 1 of 5,
Hmm.
2 of 10, those kind of things. So I lean a little more into that. And then of course stuff like this. Oh, we filled. All
Yeah,
right.
we did. We filled. We pulled the 1.2, which
Oh, okay. Yeah, we talked about that. Who Games made a good point. I actually probably like later in the marathon.
yeah, it makes sense. We also, I mean, we got a lot of people we know. We got FF Links with the 1.1. I
Oh, he
think
got one. He got the one last night.
we got
Yeah.
one last time too, right? Zero Fox right next to us, and then D Train, Lumsky, your brother Steve, and then if there's anyone else. So Jamarcus
Oh,
goes.
fun. Yeah.
Who would you take here with the 1.2?
I
Are
mean,
you
honestly, over the course of the year, I'll mix up Barkley and Bijan. So you pick whichever one you lean into more, because I'd say either be it Barkley or Bijan.
Bijan? Okay. I'm right now Bijan over Barkley.
Yeah, yeah. Then
Bar- yeah, Barkley. I'm not totally fitting Barkley, but I do think that there's more red flags with him compared to the players around him. He obviously could smash again. I'm just kind of preferring, I think, Bijan and Gibbs right now over Barkley.
yeah. I mean, it's all so close in this range, right? That yeah,
Yeah,
I get it. And so yeah, I'll probably just mix it up. But yeah, he goes 4 here, so that's fun. But no, I love Bijan.
yeah. Bijan is he your guys' RB1?
I still have Barkley as RB1. I have to see. I'm actually updating Steve's rankings today, and I'll be updating mine tomorrow. So I have to see. Steve can drop in chat. I forget if he has Barkley or Bijan as his RB1, but I know they're one too. Um, so yeah. I mean, honestly, I love them both. I feel like it's again with all these picks here. I think we just need them to. If they stay healthy, I think they're both going to be awesome picks.
Yeah, 100%. And Barkley, I mean, dude, like last year, 30 points every other week, right? Like if you had
Yeah.
him, which you did have him last
I
year,
did. Yeah,
you
that's why
did,
it's a
yeah,
cover boy in my article, because I
of
didn't have
course,
Chase, but
yeah,
yeah, I had Barkley, so that was massive.
yeah, that is massive. And you could even argue too where some players have a little safer floors, like maybe an Alvin Kamara or something, kind of gets you through like the first 10 weeks, and then if you do hit on a rookie later,
Yeah.
maybe it, kind of transitions.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I think that makes a lot of sense.
All right, so after we go Bijan, we have JJ, Barkley, Gibbs, CD, Genty, CMC. CMC is a very, very fun one in this format.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll raise him a little higher in this because just what he could offer ceiling wise.
Yep.
Puka, Neighbors, Amari, Derrick Henry, Collins, and Brian Thomas.
Yeah,
So
in my marathon rankings, I actually have him, I think, sixth or something. I have him very high because I just think you can make a case for him. If he stays healthy, he could be RB1.
yeah.
Again, everybody, for you to do well in marathon, you're going to need your first few round picks to definitely hit. But not only do I think he could hit, I do think he could be RB1 if he stays healthy. So I've been taking a lot of McCaffrey because I'm willing to take him like sixth on, and then sometimes he does fall later.
Yeah, I know on the big board he was like a second round pick. He would
I
fall.
know. I knew it wasn't going to stay that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
If we got good news, which we have.
which we had, and we're gonna probably continue to get good news, and he's
Mm-hmm.
probably still gonna creep up. So we're up in 5 picks. So we have Bijan to start at the 2-3 turn. It's a group of players. Like how do you usually start if you go RB first? Do you try to get at least one receivers, two receivers? Are you okay with double tapping RB?
I'm fine with. I am fine double tapping RB. I also am totally willing to do receiver. So are we up in one? Okay, so we're up now.
Okay.
I could run back to Josh Jacobs thing last year and T Higgins. I mean, I honestly love those two.
Yeah.
So unless you have a stronger lean, I'm absolutely fine with the first two you queued up. Unless you did want to go elite with Allen.
Yeah. Let's go Higgins first. Does
Yeah.
taking Jacobs and Bijan with the same week 5 bye, does that hurt?
I don't. Yeah, I guess that isn't as desirable. Yeah, I didn't. That's a good call. Again,
Is that something that you look at when you
yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, it's not that I would never do it.
uh,
Okay. Do you want to go? I'd be fine.
are you
Honestly,
fine with
either
Josh?
elite. Yeah,
Yeah.
either elite if you want to just grab an elite.
Man, I
So
go back and
whatever
forth
your
between
choice.
Lamar and
Yeah.
Josh a lot. I love both.
I want to have, kind of a decent, probably like slightly above, probably 10% of both in marathon.
I think so too. I'm gonna make this a Josh team, a little faller in ADP, and I just think I go back and forth between him and Lamar always.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do too. And that's why I just honestly want, a little over. I'm not going to be way overweight the field, but I could see me being, 10+%, like in that range, 10% of the elites for.
Of course, and at the 2-3 turn, like there's players I like, but I do feel kind of similar with some players at the 4-5 turn. When it comes to maybe, I think it's more likely that the receivers or even RBs there could produce similar to these, while Josh Allen and Lamar probably have an extra edge compared to the quarterbacks. I mean, Hurts, like he's not going to fall most likely. Burrow, don't mind Burrow, but I still think Josh Allen is a tier above him.
Right.
Going forward,
Yeah, he's finished what QB in the QB 1 through 3 the past 4 years. Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
like,
So feels nice.
yeah. He just. I mean, Josh Allen. He just does what he does. He's always so good. I was gonna say too, like, do you look at like player archetypes a little bit different here? Where like T Higgins, he might not be the most consistent receiver, but he is one of the few receivers that could get you a 35, 40 point, which I think would give him a boost in this type of format.
I mean, the only thing honestly that makes me nervous about T Higgins is he hasn't stayed as healthy. Has he played 17 games I mean, I know he didn't.
I don't think he's played 17 games.
That's my biggest knock for him. And then of course he's got massive target competition, but then he also has massive contingent upside if anything were to happen to Chase. So if anything were to happen to Chase, then he becomes just a massive, massive upside, even where we drafted him in the second round. So I'm definitely taking Higgins in this. I'll definitely be overweight Higgins, but again, probably not a player I'm going to have like 20% on, especially as a round 2 player, but someone that I'd like to be over the field on for sure, because massive contingent upside on a top offense. No, he hasn't really shown the ability to stay healthy all 17 games, but if he can be healthy for most of them, he should still pay off this price.
Yeah, for sure. Last year, I think he was number 5 in points per game
right.
as a receiver. So he showcased, if he could put it together for 17 games and that offense is thriving, T. Higgins for sure has upside to finish as a top 6, 7 receiver, I think, right? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Gibbs, Saquon.
But Gibbs needs the most to go right, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gibbs is the best RB in the NFL. But
if Montgomery wasn't there, he would, obviously have a much cleaner path
Of course, yeah.
to RB1. Um, so we are coming up in how many picks
So we
here?
are up in 3 picks, 2 picks actually. DJ Moore, JMO, Travis Hunter would be the receivers, I think. Devontae, but I think I'll have Hunter or JMO top of the queue.
I loved both JMO and Hunter.
Yeah.
Again, JMO was on my team last year. You don't have to twist my arm for either of those. I would say definitely one of those two receivers, and whichever one you lean into more.
I'm leaning JMO right now.
That works for me. Again, he was my hero
Yeah.
last year, so because he was on both my Bulldog and Marathon team. So that Monday night, I was sweating out him in both, and it was really fun.
Oh yeah, he's your favorite player in the NFL that day. You're
No,
like,
he definitely was. He
yeah,
definitely was. Yeah, yeah, because I believe he scored 2 touchdowns that Monday night too. So it was
yeah,
huge.
yeah, yeah. He had a great game. I remember. All right, so Devontae Smith goes. I think Hunter I like here. Burrow, you don't force the Burrow stack here, right? With Higgins,
No, not with
with
that.
Allen.
Not with
Yeah,
not since we got Allen. If he were to fall massive, but yeah, I'd go Hunter. I mean, that's
yeah. I think I was listening to I think Rotoviz. I forgot the names of who was on the show, but they were talking about how like when you're building teams, like you don't want to like be overexposed to rookies. Obviously, rookies you want to have, but he was saying like people try to target all the rookies later, but it's shown more likely if you target rookies early on, they're more likely going to be the difference makers,
right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
So Travis Hunter, DB, not DB, like there's a chance we're looking where he's a receiver one by the end of the year. And like in this format too, like I'm willing to kind of bet more on the upside of some players just because if we hit like on JMO, Hunter, Higgins, who all have that boom bust upside, but also
Yeah.
if they're playing 70 games, like they're probably beating ADP.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I think you said it perfectly. And I know, Steve, who's scouted players for, 15 years now as like rookie prospects, he loves Ted McMillan, but Travis Hunter is his true wide receiver one in this
Yeah.
class, and I just think that offense could be really fun with Liam Cohen. So I'm going to have a lot of Hunter in all formats this year.
Yeah, he's a very fun player. I love his energy. I think he shows,
Yes.
he loves football. He has a passion for it.
Yeah.
Does now with Hunter, because you said your brother was a scout for like 15 years, right?
Well, yeah, he's scouted. He's done it for like he used to cover the Senior Bowl for us, East West Shrine Game, so he's like scouted rookies for a long time. Yeah,
Yeah, like he knows rookies, the situations, he knows ball. So Hunter, like what is his lean on him playing DB receiver? Like, does he think he's gonna be a full-time receiver or more just the majority of a receiver?
definitely receiver offense first and foremost. Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds like it really sounds like from the jump. Once that kind of that FUD of the combine wore off, and people realize that he wants to play both. Yes, but that like teams view him as a receiver, and they're gonna get him involved on defense, in packages on defense. So,
yeah,
and it sounds like, Jacksonville did not trade up to 2 to just, for a cornerback that just mixes in some offensive. He's going to be a receiver, a weapon for them. And I wouldn't be shocked if they find a way to mix him in on defense, but
yeah.
Steve believes he's a receiver first and foremost. And so do I.
No, I agree with that. I think he is too. Look, Jacksonville needs help on defense, but they need help on offense. I mean,
Yeah.
Diami Brown is, I think, the receiver two there, and he's,
No, yeah. Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. are going to just be a fun tandem to watch.
yeah. I sometimes like will double stack them if I have like the 1-2 turn.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
pull Hunter up, try to
I've
bail
done
that
the
out.
same. Yeah.
All right, so we're up on 4 picks. We have Josh Allen, Bijan, Higgins, Jamo Hunter. Feeling really good about this right now. Coming up, quarterback, tight end. I don't know if you're a Sam Laporta person or not.
I mean, I don't feel the need to. In marathon, you definitely could go earlier at tight end. Lean
Yeah,
into elite stuff more. I had Kittle on my team last year, but he was 5th round. I guess that's where we're talking now. But I'll mix in some Laporta, but it's not something I'm forcing. What's the running back tab looking like?
yeah. So we have Junkins, Caleb Johnsons with Pollard. So are you a Junkins person? Do you like Junkins?
Not, I actually like Caleb Johnson more, but so if you wanted to
Okay.
go like a receiver like Pearsall or Debo and then hope that Caleb Johnson comes back to us, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind that.
I'm cool with Debo here. There's good reports about him looking healthy, and I'm starting to kind of like he was terrible last year. He was terrible. He burned a lot of people, but this is a guy still. If he's fully healthy, he possesses a lot of value, not only on the receiving game, on the ground. I think they're going to use him maybe a little more than we think there. So I'm cool with Debo.
Um,
Now,
so
yeah,
go back to the running back tab really quick. Um, I feel like we need a running back. I know Caleb Johnson has the same buy, but I don't. We could
I'm
also,
cool with Caleb. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna say Caleb or Tony Pollard here for
yeah.
me.
Let's do Caleb. They do have the same buy, right?
Yeah, it's
We're
fine
just
though.
gonna just no more week 5 buys at running back,
Yeah,
and we'll be
yeah,
fine. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I just like I said, as far as like since we did go an elite quarterback, I definitely want to have 2 through the first 6 or 7 rounds here, and that accomplished that. But I still want to make sure the running back room feels good. So we still might want to address it since we have 4 really solid receivers, an elite quarterback. I feel comfortable in the marathon having 3 or 4 that have like good projectable volume. And I know Jalen Warren's in that room too, but I think they drafted him to be the Najee Harris
Speaking of
role.
Najee Harris, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people love him. Third round, he runs hard, and he does profile as the Najee replacement. And I think the Steelers are going to be a little better than last year, right? I think Rodgers is better than Russell,
Yes.
and Warren. I like him as a player, but I think he's shown his card where he's not a 3 down workhorse. He's not. He's
Right.
he's a change of pace back at this point.
Exactly. That's exactly how I see it, view it too. And yeah, so I've been very, very bullish and high on Caleb Johnson, especially in that Arthur Smith offense. I just think it's the fit all lines up.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. I also like so we do have 1, 2, 4. I do prefer having like probably one more RB earlier
Mm-hmm.
than usual.
Right.
Didn't
Same.
go, yeah, didn't go this way, but that's why sometimes you got to kind of force yourself to see how the board's going to be and what falls to us.
So I was gonna say, what's coming up? We'll be up at what are our next 2 pick numbers?
Yeah, so we're picking a 95 and 98 coming up.
Okay.
So
Um,
I mean, there's a few RBs. I don't. I mean, I know there's one for sure probably sticking out for you.
we'll
So
see if Steve takes him here, but if he doesn't take him, I would definitely be interested in
yeah,
Cam Scatteroo. That's definitely another rookie. I know that would be 2 rookie running backs that I like a lot. I I honestly, I think Jordan Mason could have like a goal line role. I
yeah,
think he's in that range that I like. I mean, you could do like a Najee Harris and hope he gets enough of the goal line role to kind of outperform this ADP. Because again, we're just looking for upside. But I probably do like both Scatterbo and Mason
yeah.
more.
I like that. I like that. How do you feel about Brian Robinson if he falls to us?
I am not as high on Brian
Yeah,
Robinson this year. He's just never really broke out. I mean, it's why they haven't re-signed him, or
yeah,
excuse me, extended him. He's in his final year of his rookie contract.
yeah,
So I know Steve and I, as Washington fans, both thought they were going to draft someone early. I think just the guys that they didn't know would be there, like the offensive tackle, they were ecstatic to get a defensive back fell to them. I, I I was shocked they didn't draft a running back till the 7th round, but they didn't also, once you got past those first 2 picks, they didn't have a lot of other draft picks. But yeah, Eckler's still there. They mix in other guys. They did draft a rookie in the 7th round. I don't love the
yeah.
Brian Robinson click for me. It's been a tough click for me. I haven't done it much.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I prefer Austin Eckler later. I think he's going to offer
Yeah.
you similar production, just going way
Mm-hmm.
later. So we are on the clock.
Oh, there we go.
So we do get our Cam Scatterbo. And then coming up after this pick, so we have Allen, Bijan, Caleb, Scatterbo. Do you feel like Mason here would be the pick, or do you
What's his ADP here?
101 and we're at 98?
Oh yeah, then I would go
Just
Jordan.
go
He
Mason.
doesn't have
Yeah.
the same bye. He has a different bye week,
He's the
right?
week
Yeah.
6 by. So that I like doing this because we do kind of want to take more early RBs to kind of bounce
Mm-hmm.
off the Bijan Caleb thing. Mason's a very fun player, and I think he's gonna have a role no matter what. But also the
Mm-hmm.
contingent upside if something was to happen to Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones hasn't stayed the healthiest.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he did last year, I guess, but he hasn't. And I do think there's was some coach speak that like Mason could get the goal line, or short yardage carries, and that's what we're looking for. We're
yeah,
touchdown hunting, and I really have been drafting a lot of Mason on. I'm an underdog only. I don't do the full point PPR. Just haven't
hmm
had as much success in full point PPR, so I just stick with underdog. That's why I'm glad that they still do the marathon, even though, drafters is great, but that's full point PPR. I like being able to play the marathon format here on half point PPR. And so, yeah, I think Jordan Mason's a great click. Could get that touchdown, goal line roll.
yeah. And Aaron Jones, I think every year, I think last year he actually stayed healthy, but
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
most years he's always dealing with some soft tissue injury,
Mm-hmm.
missing a few games. Which all you need is like Aaron Jones missing 4 games, Mason's an RB1 during that stretch, and that's paying off the ADP
No,
where we
big
at.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I want to say, let me check in with Chad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Zero says I'm Hunter Tattoo and wouldn't be surprised if Golden has a better rookie year too. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Best ball, what's up, man? How we doing? JT, what's up? We drafting some winners today. Yes, sir. Always. Steve got sniped. It looks like.
On
Okay,
Knicks. Okay.
yeah, we'll check. And then Zero gets sniped with Fields as well. So everyone's getting sniped. Mason's trying to, or Zero's trying to bring down the Mason pick a little bit there. He was in Discord, I think, arguing about someone with that. So yeah. So we are up in 7
Oh,
picks.
did Steve snipe Fields away from after he got sniped on Knicks, I guess, maybe?
Yeah, so Knicks goes 1 pick before Steve, and
And
then
he
Steve
takes you.
takes Fields. Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yep.
domino effect.
Snipe domino effect. So what numbers are we coming up at? Because this
Yeah,
is
of course. Yeah,
a
yeah.
good quarterback range too, even though we took the lead.
116 and 122.
Okay.
Yeah. So for quarterbacks, there's a few. So we could do golf with the JMO.
Mm-hmm.
May just goes, of course, to Steve.
Of course, damn it, Steve.
Not yeah. Not surprised by that. I mean, so golf, we do the stack. How do you feel about taking like Stroud, Herbert, Love,
I mean, I think those are all fine. If you're, I would probably point to
J-
Lawrence too,
Lawrence?
cue
Okay.
Lawrence for later.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, you could even cue JJ, even having just team
Mason.
correlation. But
Yeah.
probably in this format, I like the correlation to be other formats. I'm kind of more comfortable, like just soaking up all the touchdowns. But on good teams, and I wrote about this. I'm willing to overstack or just stack up just good teams, and the Vikings are a good offense, and I think
Yeah.
the Jaguars are going to be a good offense this year. Or the Lions are a good offense. So these are all teams that I'd love to stack up. So I definitely think one of these next 2 picks should be a quarterback. It's up to you, unless you wanted to like try to push Lawrence.
No, I think we
You want
should
to go
take
Goff
one. I'm cool with golfer. Yeah, it's a week
because he
85.
doesn't have the same buy as Allen, right?
No, no. We have JMO, good offense. T-Lot, now, do you feel like we could take T-Lot here or push him just to see if we get him?
Steve and I did that yesterday, where we took 3, pretty high equity, and you're going to end up thin somewhere, and we ended up a
Yeah,
little thin at receiver. So tempting. If for some reason he did like a massive fall, I'd be interested, but probably here we should go receiver.
yeah, we
There's
don't
some
want
good
to.
ones on the board with Higgins, Burden.
And Bayman, I like in this format too because he
Yeah,
spikes. Higgins,
honestly, all 3 of those are interesting.
yeah. I go back and forth between them. Like I think Higgins obviously has more of the clear path for being on the field and producing as a receiver too. Burden, I think, is a better player, and then
Mm-hmm.
Bateman showcase he could spike in the right situation. So
I mean, they're all should be top offenses or offenses
yeah,
that are ascending. So, I mean, I'll let you choose. I'm fine with any of those 3. I think we
yeah,
got a good spot that we're getting one of those 3, quite honestly.
Yeah, just I was just double checking the buys. We're looking pretty good overall. Let's go.
Good.
Yeah, we'll go Higgins. I think
I
Higgins
like
is
it.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean he should be the. I mean, I think he's going to be the wide receiver too in that offense to Nico Collins. So I like that pick a
it's fun
lot.
fun pairing with those two on the field.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And already now we have 2 4 5, which is nice because
Yeah.
yes, I know in this format you could make a case for like whether it's an early tight end or I really struggle. I've never had it's never just never worked out with me with it for me with elite tight end. So I struggle with
Mhm.
the like round 2 3 tight end clicks, but I'm definitely, obviously Kittle was on my marathon team last year. I love Kittle, love the
Mhm.
49ers offense, love their schedule. So Kittle's probably my favorite tight end click. I need to get probably more on board with sprinkling the top two tight ends, sprinkling some of like the Laporta, um, you know, uh, Hawkinson type
Hawkinson
range.
range. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I really do live in the like mid to late rounds of tight ends. So this team feels good so far.
Yeah, it feels good. It's so tough to take all the players, right? Like I love Bowers and McBride. It's just, I just think when you're trying to construct a team, I usually feel better when I wait on tight end.
Same.
I mean, I think the advance rate is better when you wait on tight end as well in general, right? So
Right.
obviously this would help a marathon because you're just trying to build strong teams in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this team so far. We do pick again 143 and 146. So quarterbacks, just looking at stacking options.
I mean, if Lawrence fell all the way back there, then I think
That'd be a
even
steal.
though it's
Yeah.
elite, yeah, even though we have the elite and we drafted a mid round, I mean, that's just huge, huge value. And again, then you're just saying like we're going to dominate the quarterback scoring.
Yeah.
And hopefully, obviously, hopefully all of our rooms kind of dominate, but like you'd really hope that you dominate the quarterback scoring. Like basically, you're saying no week am I going to have under, um,
Mhm.
25 points or something like, that we're setting a high bar for our quarterback room.
Very high bar. And you know what? Things happen. Like Josh Allen misses a week, and it's the same week that Jared Goff has a bye week.
Right.
T Law's there, puts up 25 points. Allen's back, and we're looking good.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I
so
think
yeah.
people get a little too black and white with like injuries. Like, well, if Allen misses, your team's dead. Well, yeah, if he misses the whole season,
Mhm.
this team's probably dead. But if he misses like 5 games, then it would be nice to have two quarterbacks to kind of fill. And that's why I lean into the three quarterback even on this. And like I said, I was just shocked at the data that there was more three quarterback teams in the top 100 even on the year where quarterbacks stayed healthier.
No, that's very interesting. And if quarterbacks, do kind of go back to where they're getting hurt more often, we'll probably see more three quarterbacks finish in the top, 100, for the marathon.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man, so there's a couple things we could do here.
So yeah.
I mean, two. I don't know how you feel about two in. I mean, it correlates with Hunter betting on that. Also, we do have. I don't even want to say because he's watching right now. I mean, let T Law fall to us, man. Come on. Don't waste the clock all the way. Okay. All right.
I mean, I think that because this is 143, you're getting Lawrence.
Yeah, 143. We're getting a quarterback.
It's a different buy too, right?
Just want to double check. Week 8, so same as golf.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but different than Allen.
Yeah, I think I like it.
I'm cool with it. Yeah, because I mean it. I mean, I like Tuin, but I mean Tuin could fall, but it's like
If he falls, then you have another. You're just stacking up the Jaguars, and then
yeah,
then we're done at quarterback and running back, and then we just finish out tight end and receiver if Tootin falls to us.
and you know what too is like you still need to hit on later picks because like kind of go into your team. If you hit on one or two of those dead spots,
Yeah,
you
I could have
know
finished much higher. Yeah,
much higher, right? So I think going three quarterbacks is fine because T Lock could finish as a quarterback one with major spikes. Everybody else here though, it's like they could help us, but
right.
they're in a similar tier. So two and falls,
Yeah,
I
I
think we
say
go
go
two
for
in.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then unless like there's just like a running back luxury pick, like for some reason we feel really good about the other rooms, then I think we're pretty much done at quarterback and running back. And
And it's
um,
focused on receiver and tight end.
Yeah, I know it's three rookie running backs. Because I know it's three rookie running backs, but they're three rookie running backs that definitely you could make a case for all three. I mean, hopefully in this case, all three to outperform their ADP, to outperform their positional ranking that we're drafting them at. I'm very high on these three. Being being a big part of their team's offense this year. I mean, and we'll see. But that's the swings you're taking in marathon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is I like when I'm building teams. Like, this is the story I'm telling myself. The,
Exactly.
the story is Bijan's the RB1 overall, so he's filling the RB1 spot. Caleb Johnson is a monster, right? He's filling
Yeah.
the Najee. Cam Scatterbo just is a plain out better RB than Tracy.
Right.
Mason's going to give us points, and then Tuin, where it's a weird situation with Jacksonville, but I think Tuin could end up being the starter there for sure. And if he is, dude, like 146 for the potential starter for Jacksonville.
Right. Yeah, I know Liam Cohen offense. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds pretty nice.
yeah, it falls perfectly to us too. I mean, we got a fallen T-Law and Tuin. We have Hunter, so Jacksonville Jaguars like.
Yeah, and again, it's like I wouldn't overstack like the Browns, but I definitely would overstack Jacksonville. It's overstacking. Like last year, if you stacked up like the Bucks,
Yeah,
the Lions, those just great Bengals, good offenses, you could have a lot of success in marathon. If you stacked up bad offenses, you wouldn't. So and again, price matters too. I mean, especially considering two out of those three Jaguars we got in the 140s too.
No, you're right. We got Lawrence 143, and then also Tuin at 146.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I like that. And then now we can just really focus on receiver and tight end.
yeah, which you know what? Like, I mean, tight end, I love taking the tight ends late.
Yeah.
Receiver, I'm fine with too. Networks Academy Source Club says I'm gonna be weak at receiver this time.
Was he the one in the 12th spot? I think he was the one that
Is he coach?
I think he said earlier that he didn't like the 12th spot.
The 12th spot? Okay. Let's see. I mean, you got Nico, Mike, Juwan, Diggs, Bateman, Christian Kirk. So if it is you, you're totally fine at the receiver position.
Yeah, no, I like that team. I mean, he started Derrick Henry and Nico.
Derrick Henry and Nico, yeah. So we pick again 167 and 170. We're coming up. This was like a tight end range.
Sure. Definitely. Yeah. Who are your favorite tight ends in this area? I mean, there's not many in this area I don't like.
Yeah. I mean, Gesicki, Henry, Strange. I think Strange is fine taking the laws well, but just betting on the offense. Pat Fairmouth, Ertz. Like, I love all these tight ends. It's like,
yeah,
where it falls to us, we could take probably two, unless
I was going to say you could unless there's a receiver that really stands out. This is kind of not my favorite receiver pocket. So unless there's a receiver that stands out to you, I think you could double tap tight end here and kind of get caught up pretty quick.
Yeah. Do you think it's we need to force Palmer with Allen
here? No, I actually wrote about that. I learned from my Curtis Samuel pick that I'm not going to afford, and especially in season long. If you want to take with Gesicki or whatever tight end you like.
Gesicki is, I mean, Strange makes sense because of T-Law, but I do love Gesicki the most. I think he has the most upside.
Same. I mean, again, if there's, I mean, in this case, we wouldn't want it to be Higgins, but say Chase is out like 4 weeks, or any time at all. Or just they just pass at such a high rate that getting two pieces of their passing offense feels really, really good. Yeah, what were we saying before that? Oh, about the Bills. That's one team in this. I know I need to be open to stacking the Bills more like in classic contests because, it could be Palmer in week 15 or 16 or 17. It could be Kean Coleman. Do you want to double tap? It's up to you. I honestly like all three of those. So you could correlate with Strange. I mean, I honestly just love Freiermuth. I think he's going to be the second choice. So it's whatever you like. Do any bye week conflict with
that's right. So we have week 10. No thing.
Okay, then whatever your favorite tight end, I like all three.
I think it makes sense with Strange because if Jaguars do hit,
then we're getting everybody
Yeah.
but BTJ basically, and of course ETN
Yeah. If T Law takes a step forward and he's throwing the ball a lot, good. It just I think it makes sense to bet on the Jaguars as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. No, so I know Steve and I have had this conversation. In classic contests, I do need to be more open. I'm a little stubborn about the Bills because they do that whole like
Yeah.
everybody eats, and it's like, well, that's not fun for us for fantasy. That's not like great. And last year was you just wanted Allen and James Cook. You really, I mean, no receiver like really paid off in playoffs or advance rate anything, and so I know I need to get on board with that because, there could be a receiver or maybe Kincaid or somebody that steps up this year and helps your advance rate or steps up in the playoffs and you want them with Allen. But in marathon, I have a harder case because they do spread it out so much. It's not condensed. It's the opposite of condensed. It's really Allen, James Cook, and then it's going to oscillate between different receivers. So for marathon, I'm not going to do what I did with Curtis Samuel last year. I'm not going to force like a stack. Allen gets a ton of his equity, fantasy points on the ground, and the rest is going to be most likely what it has been the last few years ever since Diggs. Well, okay, the last year was the first year without Diggs. Once Joe Brady took over, though, it just like even Diggs kind of got diminished, and they just spread it around, and it's not fun for fantasy.
No, it's not. And like you said, I think when you're in a pod, you kind of want that edge, right?
Sure, I get it in the pod.
In pod, right? But like in this format, like I'm not gonna force on like reaching on ADP to get Palmer when he's probably gonna put up 400 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right. Again, because we have to look at it the lens of the contest, and the contest is we need him to be. He would have to be, at this price, it's not like he'd have to have a massive, like season long line, but it would have to be like more than that, and so especially in the pocket of which we were in where there were such good tight ends, I just don't think it would have been worth passing up those tight ends for Palmer just to say we were stacking.
Yeah, because there's receivers that are going to project similar to Palmer. So it's, and Palmer's, like I doubt he's going to have a breakout year with Allen. And we do have 2 other quarterbacks that are stacked as well.
Yeah.
So I feel fine with that. Receivers and tight ends. I mean, that's
all we're looking at now, basically. So that's nice.
There's no RBs here that I really would want, or
I was gonna say, unless there's some upside swing that you like really feel like, and
that's just a better value than the receiver tight end.
Right. But I mean, because we did get 4 receivers in like the top.
We did pretty good with the draft capital, right? Like Higgins, JMO, Hunter, Debo. And if you're playing the game where Hunter is actually, playing full-time receiver, then we're betting that this is actually a potential still at ADP.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tight end does get thin, so this is another reason I'm so glad we double tapped the tight end, because it gets thin in the marathon quick.
Yeah, like more than other contests I've noticed. Same with the eliminator.
So I will say one like upside swing at tight end, if he's still there, is I just blanked on his name. The Seattle tight end. Like if they use him as kind of like a big receiver, I think that's kind of interesting. That's like the whole, okay, we're looking to like massively outperform. I think Juwan Johnson is still is going to be a good tight end there, but if you want to go receiver first, because Arroyo goes later, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Keenan Allen, if we're betting he's signed
if he signs, he's going to go up. So I don't mind Keenan Allen at all.
And then unless there's a Tyler Lockett,
no.
Can I introduce him?
No, you definitely heard me and Steve debating or talking about that. I had strong opinions. So what ADP are we coming up?
So we're at 194.
Okay, what is Arroyo's? He's like 212, right?
He's 212, but we are in a room with Steve.
Okay. So. That's smart. How many tight ends does Steve have? He has a couple. I don't know if
he has one. He has 3 actually.
Okay. Okay, we might be safe.
Do you think? Because I think Arroyo does have upside, but is Noah Fant going to be cut for sure, or does that matter to you? Because still, like, it's just I feel let's look at receiver first. Who's your favorite receiver here? Do you have Austin, Wicks, Roman
I mean,
Wilson?
probably who I mentioned yesterday, Roman Wilson is my favorite. So both could go later. So if you want to take
Yeah,
what I just think he's in a position where he could. And I know we drafted because we did not take.
we have Gasecki and Strange, so we could bet
Okay,
on the upside too,
yeah, let's do that.
which I'm
Like,
fine with. And you know, like there's people smarter than me that love this guy, and I know people's like I think Seahawks said he was like a top 15 pick for him, or I don't know, like basically they were like really high on him.
yeah,
You know, DK Metcalf role potentially,
I
right? Like
mean, yeah.
that's that, and if he's a receiver, or if he's a tight end playing receiver, then he's a still at this ADP.
That's the whole thing. We're swinging
Yeah,
for upside in this contest, and we have two other
you're
tight
right.
ends that are solid. Even though that we waited at tight end, I feel solid with those two. So I like the upside swing with Arroyo.
No, I think you're right about that, right? Like, I think you do want to kind of swing from our upside because I mean, Gesicki and Strange, I feel really good about their roles in the offense, and then Arroyo, like if he's gonna be hitting over the other two tight ends, it's because he smashes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take a nice chunk of Arroyo, even before all the we get more camp news, and then certainly as
Yeah,
we get more camp news, if it's positive, he's someone I could see me having a good clip of, just because I
yeah,
feel like it's a team that just needs
playmakers.
needs that kind of play. Yeah, I mean, I do
Yeah,
think MVS is a fun click, and that could even be something we consider if you just want like kind of a team correlation or anything. I know Steve's very high on him. He's in that the offensive coordinator coming over to Seattle, but that would be another like late round. If you're just looking for like a late round, because I think he had 4 touchdowns with the Saints last year. So if you're getting
yeah.
on
He
last
had
year,
19 catches for 411 yards and four
yeah,
touchdowns.
yeah, only 19 catches, but 400, yeah, 400 plus yards.
MVS
Oh, Steve.
is a yeah. MVS is a fine click because what if Sam Darnold is just good and last year showed that because like his deep ball was really
His
good last
deep
year.
ball is great. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's what Arroyo, or excuse me, MVS
MVS.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um, so I would say my two favorite clicks are probably Roman Wilson and MVS with the last pick. But I mean, open any, I think again, we're swinging for upside. The Roman Wilson thing is more, I know with Caleb Johnson and it's two Steelers and Steelers aren't exciting, but I do think, with Rodgers, people can say what they want. It's going to be an upgrade from what they've had in the last couple of
100%.
years. And
Yeah.
I think Roman Wilson, if he can like stay healthy and emerge as the wide receiver too. Again, you're talking last pick. He was my last pick last year. It didn't work. I'll do it the same. I'm willing to get hurt again. But yeah, I would say both Roman Wilson and MVS have that like upside. Like they have the potential to finish much higher wide receiver ranking than we're drafting them at, and that's exactly what we want.
No, I agree 100%. Real quick, Steve does take Tyler Lockett again. So
Did he really?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, Steve! I talked to you about it. Oh, he said for the bit.
Over the bit, W bit. That was a great move. I was gonna say Russell Wilson, Roman Wilson. I think he was hurt most of the year too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not like he was bad. He was more hurt. And Aaron Rodgers, like, say what you want, like he's still an upgrade there. There's
Oh,
no
massively. Yeah.
clear receiver too. Metcalf is a good receiver, but he's not a target hog as of
Mm-hmm.
now. So I think
Right.
I do think these are two good clicks. I wanted to ask you, does exposures matter as much as in trying to scroll down and get like low known guys in this format?
Yeah, and I honestly think either of these could be lower. Oh, I don't think they're going to be like next to nothing owned, but
Yeah,
I do think they're going to be lower owned. So,
yeah.
so I do like that. But yeah, I will take some 18th round shots on even potentially lower. But I think these two both could be lower. So I pick whichever one you like better because I like both.
I was a huge Roman Wilson stan last year as
Me too.
well, and
Yeah.
I got hurt because it's like Steelers, they never bust with receivers. They don't usually,
Right.
and I think that's why I was so happy last year on him.
Yeah. So let's just run it back, and hopefully this year it pays off.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get hurt again. That's fine.
Exactly. Again, you saw last year as one of my last round clicks. It didn't hurt.
Hmm.
Steve, I mean, we're trying to get people to subscribe to our the thing. Do not be drafting Tyler Lockett.
That that's funny. Okay. We did finish let me see what time it is. So yeah, let's if, I mean if you have to go, I understand. If not, I'm
No,
gonna
we
be
can review the team or whatever. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, gonna review the teams real quick. Marathon. Perfect. So we built a 3573, which I think you quoted this is your favorite build as well.
Yeah, I
Right.
did. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I think 3573 will probably be my most built team as well. Allen Goff, Lawrence, gotta feel great about the quarterback room.
Very
Very,
good. Yeah.
very strong. Bijan, Caleb, Cam Scottaboo, Mason, and Tuin. Volatile with the rookies, but in I think we made it work with this five.
Yes, absolutely. Again, the upside I think is there.
Yeah, yeah. And when you go Bijan one, it's like we're betting on a legendary season,
Sure.
right? So it's like, it's really these four guys that we gotta have figured out. Higgins, Jamo, Hunter, Debo, Higgins again, Jaden Higgins,
I
Keenan Allen, and Russell Wilson. I like this group. I think
like
it's
that group a
quite good.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Mike Gesicki, Strange, Arroyo, tight end room. I like this tight room. Two guys that are going to be getting a lot of targets and potential upside in touchdowns, and then the upside shot on Arroyo. So
I mean, I really, really love this team. I really do.
hey, might be the one.
There we go. There we
Might
go.
might be the one. And then just I know there's a couple people. I'll probably just skim over them real quick.
Yeah.
Zero. I think he even said that. Yeah, 3573 with Josh feels nice, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And he does the same thing 3573, JJ McCarthy, Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones. So wait a little bit, but I mean, I don't
There's
mind the
still a lot
quarterback
of
room.
upside there, though. I
Yeah.
mean, JJ McCarthy, Daniel Jones offer a lot with their legs, too. And to get that late is really nice.
And it just means the rest of his team is probably really strong. With
Right.
I mean, look, Taylor, Mixon, Kamara, Swift, and Tank Bisbee. Like that's a strong RB room.
Right. Very. Yeah.
JJ, Wilson, Godwin, Shakir, Pittman, Thielen, two. I like the receiver room as well. I think
Oh,
he
yeah.
strong. And then Warren, Ertz, and Tyler Conklin at the tight end room.
I like that. I mean, I like the way he stacked up just
Like
stacking up the Colts like offense
in general, yeah.
essentially. Yeah. And I mean, Tyler Warren could get some like tush pushes or use them creatively. So I know people aren't as excited about him, but especially if it is Daniel Jones, I don't mind it. I really like Tyler Warren a lot still. I want to make sure I have him plenty in marathon.
I agree. I think the Colts are a underrated offense that I want to be heavy on this year, where
Yes.
I could just see because they're all cheap.
They're cheap. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, they're cheap.
yeah. So I like the team. Well done, Zero. And then
Absolutely.
if there's anyone that you might know from like the fan speak or in general, let me know as well. I'll go over their team. D Train. Do you know D Train? Are you
I don't think so, but
okay? It's actually a Tomsky. And if you are in the chat watching, you want to review team, just throw it down in chat. The Lumsky, he goes,
oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, you know Lumsky. I think he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's in all the streams.
Absolutely.
2772 Hurts and Cam Ward. So you have your elite Cam Ward. I'm fine with that. I mean, if you're going two quarterback, I mean, you have an elite Cam Ward. I like
Yeah, no, I like those two quarterbacks a ton.
Genty, Travion, Pollard, Spears, double tap, which is
Oh, you got the whole Titans room so he basically has all the Titans touchdowns locked up this year. I like that.
they're all locked up, and it's like they're cheap enough where I can see it work out as well. Eckler, Hunter, and Woody Marks kind of throwing two shots at rookies. So running back room, I think you're fine there. I think there's stuff that could go right. AJ
Oh yeah.
Brown, AJ Brown, Adams, Ridley, Mooney, Trey Harris, Emeka, and Douglas.
Oh, that's nice. He is, Titans really stacked up. AJ Brown with Hurts. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, super
And
heavy
I
on.
mean, some of those clicks too, just like Devontae Adams, Mooney, like those are just other ones. Devontae Adams is stacked as well. Mooney, these are guys that just definitely you can see a path to them outperforming.
100%. And then you have two upside rookie shots with Harris and Mecca.
Right.
where one of like if one of them hits, like you're feeling really good.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Henry and Pat Fairmouth, where I'm probably going three tight ends on most of this, but I think Henry and Pat Fairmouth are probably a good duo this year.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, good team Lunsky.
Love it.
William Sampson does say Trilly, so is that his team? I would assume.
And I
Oh yeah,
know the
right.
12 spots watching too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let's go. Let's do your brother. So he does
Okay.
3 5. I want you to take this one over. Go ahead.
Okay. 3-5-7-3. So Justin Fields, Drake May, Michael Penix. Gotta love that. That's a really nice quarterback room. Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, David Montgomery. So really three solid projectable volume running backs, and then tacking on Allen and is that
Devin, no.
Devin Neal. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like that. No, that's again solid. Steve and I both build for like running back to hit the flex. So
Hmm.
in half point PPR, I like that. And still got Drake London, Terry,
Cortland
Cortland
Sutton.
Sutton. Yeah, great red zone target. Matthew Golden. So he took Matthew Golden from zero. Wasn't zero the one that wanted him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyle
Example.
Williams stacked up, and then Pat
Pat
Bryan. You know,
Bryant.
his only
Tyler
whiff
Lockett.
is Tyler Lockett. So and then Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson, Mason Taylor. I love 17 of 18 of Steve's picks.
which is pretty good. And then do shout out Steve because he did it for the bit, he says, but I think he just couldn't refuse the ADP faller. Unlock it right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, it's your one of your last picks. So, but no,
Yeah.
I like it's a good team for Steve. I'm not
Good
surprised.
good team, Steve. So going back, we have Trilly with the 2772 build. Lamar Jackson and Love. I think that's a great duo in general. I'm cool at stopping two there. And then he goes kind of like a modified Hero RB, Achan, Javante White, Wright, Blake Horman, Nick Chubb, and Kendry Miller. So it's a very interesting room.
Yeah,
Achan,
he's got the
yeah,
anchor, and then I'm just not a. I don't know what to make
Javante's
of
kind of high
the.
right here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just don't know what to make of the Dallas running back room. It just none really appealed to me, but yeah, I would probably want a little more projectable volume, but hey, maybe Javante hits. Rashad White is still, it's not like he's in the contingent back only, so that's
yeah,
nice. So yeah, my personal preference is just a little more projectable volume, but
yeah,
it's anchored by HN. Maybe Javante is, back to a better form of Javante, and Dallas knows something we don't. And like I said, some of those other guys have some standalone value too, and aren't just pure handcuffs and stuff. So I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I like that too. Then Neighbors, Flowers, Olave, Ayuk, Kenan, Coleman, Dobbs, and then DeAndre Hopkins. So receiver room, I feel pretty solid with
Yeah.
Ayuk. Yeah, Ayuk receiver
Ayuk is
four,
what does Ayuk go here? Because that's
pick 87, or
yeah.
ADP is 90.
Okay, yeah. So he's one that I would dock. Like for me, he'd have to come down further in this format because
Yeah,
we don't know when he's going to really get out there, and then when is he going to be full strength. So then again, in classic contests, I still haven't gotten there in classic contests, but you can make a case for it. In this, I'm a little more wary. He'd have to fall further for
to
like
like
I
probably the pick
120s probably.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I understand
I
that
mean, they
too.
have a loaded, they still,
Yeah,
even though they lost Debo, it's still like you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got Pearsall, I'm blanking on John or Jennings, Kittle. So it's not like he's the only game in town. So I'm lower on Ayuk. But that's how I was with Kelsey too. It doesn't mean I'm right. It just means I'm just personally lower on them. But I am lower. I will say I am lower on him in this
no,
format.
I agree because if we get bad news, he's gonna fall, or just in general, like he could start slow, or he might be on the pup. So I think it's a click I'm gonna pass on for now. Um, but you know what? Who knows? We'll see
Yeah.
as the off season goes on.
Right. Right.
And then he takes Kittle and then Kelsey too. So kind of like modify double elite tight end. You get Kittle.
Yeah, definitely didn't only need two there, and
Yeah,
that makes sense. And I think Kittle's going to probably be, if he stays healthy, I think he could have a similar season last season. So I definitely want to get my Kittle shares in marathon. So I love
for
Kittle
sure.
in this format.
No, I agree completely, and then the 12th spot, right?
Right. Yeah.
Coach J41DFS. Love
Oh,
it.
I've drafted with him before. Yeah, I know him, Coach. That's good to see him in here.
Yeah, cool. So the coach team 3582. Baker, Purdy, and Rogers, three quarterbacks.
Oh, I
Fine
like
with.
that.
I
Yeah.
like
I
that
mean,
too.
Rogers could be, honestly, Rogers is going to be a click I'll probably make in marathon. I don't think he's going to be
I'm
finishing the
surprised he's at
bottom. Yeah.
205 here. Actually, I would
Yeah, I
figure.
mean, to still get him there, I think he's going to start jumping up. I need to update my rankings, quite honestly, because I probably have him like 200 or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to need to update him now that we know he's playing. I mean, again, if he plays 17 games, I don't think he's going to finish quarterback, 28 or lower. I think he's going to
I don't either.
finish,
Yeah,
so, even if he's like middle of the pack, I think to get him as a third quarterback, even if he, is in like the 180s, is a good click. So I like that quarterback room a ton. Mayfield, Baker, Purdy, and Rodgers. That's got a lot of upside for,
it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And then he has Henry, Kyron, James Conner, Roshan Hill, kind of like your like Steve, right? Your brother.
Mm-hmm.
They're three early RBs, filling the flex with Connor, and then kind of
Yeah.
two upside shots with Roshan and Hill, which I,
Yes.
he that's interesting though with Hill and Henry though. I think I don't know if I'm gonna be handcuffing much in this format, but
Right. Right.
right,
Yeah.
but Hill
Yeah.
could spike, I guess, still both at the same time.
Yeah, or maybe if you're thinking it's like a short-term thing, or
Yeah.
something like that. Or yeah, like there's those games where he'll gets it in the passing game because the Ravens are playing from behind, and then the games that the Ravens are playing from ahead, we know that Henry's,
Mhm.
definitely the guy in those situations. So I guess that's an interesting way to take. I generally would not handcuff in marathon. However, the two examples we saw, like the Titans, you're not spending a ton. It's like two, clicks in the 80 and early hundreds for those two. And in this case, it's one early, one really late.
Yeah.
But they both offer two different things. So, you could make a case for it. It's something I won't do often, but I could make a case for why it would work with the Ravens and Titans.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I can see it. And then the receivers, he has Nico, Mike Evans, Juwan Jennings, Stephon Diggs, Bateman, Kirk, Michael Wilson, and Calvin Austin.
That's a solid receiver room. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's stacked up. Got the Baker and Mike. He has Purdy and Juwan, and then Calvin Austin with the Rogers, which
I
I think
like that.
I
Yeah.
like that too. Ingrid and Kyle Pitts, two tight ends, fine with that, stopping at
Yeah.
two. Yeah, so
I like
overall,
this team. I like this team a lot. Yeah.
no, it's a great team, coach. So
Coach he's a good drafter. I've drafted with him before. He's sharp, and that I like that team a lot.
perfect. Well, I think that's everybody. Meg, I appreciate you so much for coming on. It was a
It's been
lot
a
of
lot of fun.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. Please tell the people where they can find you and what you got going on.
Of course, Megs08 DFS on Twitter, Fanspeak Network on YouTube. Soon, I mean, we pretty much have live drafts or live shows every single weekday. Soon it will be going pretty much every single day of the week. And Jeopardy most Wednesdays. We're taking a week off next week, but we've got some big, big names coming up. I will tease that. For instance, Justin Herzig is going to be playing my brother Steve on June 25th. So that's going to be
Wow.
really fun. So we've got some big names coming on to round out the first round. That's a full Jeopardy tournament, Best Ball Jeopardy tournament, which has been a ton of fun and will be a ton of fun. So a ton of live shows on the Fanspeak Network. Check that out. And then, of course, our Best Ball Substack, just $34.99 for the entire year, 3 to 4 articles from Steve and I. I'm actually in between. I think Steve posted his next article coming out. I actually am going to be posting it in between this show, and if I have time, which I probably will, the next show, he talks about Rodgers and Daniel Jones and getting them late, and now that we have a little more information. So I'll be posting that. But yeah, 3 to 4 articles a week from Steve and I, rankings for almost every format, and we'll keep those updated, and then soon some sub-only shows. So check that out. You can go to fanspeak.com. There's a link at the top of fanspeak.com, or you can go to any of our Fanspeak Network shows and get the link there. But we appreciate it. And we thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and all the links for Fanspeak, the subscription, Twitter, YouTube are in my description.
Oh,
So
perfect. Thank you.
of course, yeah. So please, guys, go give them a follow, check it out. Only $35 a month. Trust me, it's worth
35
it.
for the entire year.
For the entire year. My
Yeah.
God, yeah, 35 for the entire year. Trust me, some of your guys' subscriptions for monthly is higher than that. So yeah, so go check that out. And then for me, I probably, it's an emergency stream, so I'll probably do another stream in like 30-40 minutes as well. Gonna be bringing on Sus Edwards and then
Oh, love it.
another guest. Yeah, so I got to create a thumbnail and all that for this. But I won't take up too much of my time. Thank you, Meg, for coming on. I appreciate
Thank you.
everyone that came in, chat with us, and draft. And until next time, I'll see you guys shortly. So, peace out.